Oh, hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
This is Geeking Out
with Shades and Sketch. Thanks for coming back, longtime listeners.
Yeah, this is a big one.
This is.
We have been waiting a long time for this
one. Sketch, where is GoCo today?
The GoCo has been assembled. Our Geeking Out Command Outpost has been assembled inside a newly relocated apartment complex.
Yes, on the outskirts of an utterly dilapidated yet ecologically beautiful Russian wasteland village.
Can we just call it Chernobyl?
No. Oh. No, we can't.
Apparently we cannot.
We cannot call it Chernobyl, even though it's clearly
Chernobyl. With Avatar Pandera-esque foliage all around. It's quite beautiful.
It's a lovely place.
It was not that beautiful just a few hours ago.
No.
So we should probably get into what happened, because it was
Well, if this is where we are, Sketch, that must mean
we're talking about
Justice League,
the new movie.
Do we have a theme song?
Yes, we have a theme song this week. Come together right now over me. Wow. So, Justice League, the movie. Spoilers going in. We always say spoilers.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously there's going to be spoilers of, anything Justice League, especially this movie, but also spoilers for this episode of Geeking Out. We loved this movie.
Wow.
Let's just get that out.
Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Yeah.
Do you just want to give your score now?
No, we'll wait for scores. Okay. But I mean, people are going to accuse us of not being biased, and it was really good. But we'll get to that a little bit later.
But not only spoilers for Justice League, but spoilers for any of the Justice League cartoons,
comic
books,
video
or
games.
any of the DC animated universe or video games, because
or the DC cinema universe,
DC cinematic universe
existed to this
point. Because the movie actually did, I thought, a pretty good job of pulling in Gold Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Modern Age cartoons. It's a jumble to pull in, but I'm not going to use the word mess because I didn't think it was a mess.
It was not a mess.
I don't think it was a mess. So yeah, full disclosure,
we loved it.
We loved this.
Absolutely
movie.
Loved it.
Absolutely loved it. A little synopsis.
Well, should we do a little history first?
A little history.
Okay.
The Justice League debuts in 1960 in Brave and the Bold, issue 24. March of 1960, and it brought together the core team that has existed in the comic universe anyway, in all of its iterations, the core team of the Justice League being Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Flash, Green Lantern, and
Green Arrow.
Did I say Martian Manhunter?
You said Martian Manhunter.
And
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
A lot of greens on this team.
No, Aquaman. I'm sorry.
Oh, Aquaman.
Aquaman is the original core. And they've expanded that out over the years.
People have come and gone.
It's a rotating kind of thing, similar to Avengers. But you basically have the core iteration of those 7 always playing some kind of role. They'll drop in just to kind of guest appearance or whatnot.
Sure.
This iteration of Justice League is kind of based on New 52/Rebirth. We're adding Cyborg to the mix, and we're dropping Green Lantern
for now.
We'll get to that. But this movie picks up a short time after the events of Batman versus Superman and Wonder Woman.
Did they say how long it's been?
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either. It's not important.
It's really not important. But it picks up a short time after BVS and Wonder Woman in the present day. And it picks up with Batman tracking an interdimensional parademon, we come to find out, in Gotham, which...
well, wait. I got to pause you right there.
Okay.
Starts out with a home movie of
start out with a,
two young, intrepid podcasters.
Yes, it does. Two intrepid podcasters.
It's nice to see they put us in the movie.
We appreciated it.
Yeah, we did.
Very much. Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon, thank you so much for...
Thanks for the shout out, guys.
Absolutely.
I'm blushing.
We were... Yeah.
All right. So
little shades and sketch.
Batman's tracking down you think a criminal?
but it turns out it's a parademon from his nightmare Batman vision.
Mm-hmm.
And we come to find out that there are more and more sightings of these beings all along the world, if you know what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're flying across TV screens. They're keeping off the grid, we come to find out. And it causes Batman and Diana to unite the League amidst the backdrop of a hopeless world due to the death of Superman and the threat of our villain Steppenwolf, who's trying to basically terraform the Earth.
Right.
And it's happening quick. So it's basically the Justice League are the only people who recognize what's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening
for different reasons.
Off the grid.
Everyone involved in this, with the exception of Barry Allen, has a personal stake.
Yes.
In what's going on.
Barry Allen just needs friends.
Barry Allen just needs friends and just
needs some friends.
Just wants to be a part of something. But Wonder Woman,
which I loved.
Oh,
I loved what they did with Barry.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into this.
I'll save that for a big question.
Okay. So they kind of pull the team together kind of quick. It's
very quick.
Very quick, because it's not like a team rah, here we go.
No, it very is like nobody knows this is happening,
mm-hmm.
and we're the only people that can do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a masked vigilante. You're a 5,000-year-old Greek goddess.
Yes.
How the F do we explain that?
We got a speedster.
Yeah.
We got a Atlantean, which we've never seen before.
We've never seen an Atlantean before.
They've been around for as long as the Amazons have. And we have a robot. A cyborg. Yep. And it was great. It was just great. I'm grinning from ear to ear. We saw it last night. Full disclosure, we're still in the afterglow of the movie.
And we both tried to look at this objectively and find things that we were legitimately disappointed with. And it doesn't mean that we're not saying that the movie has no flaws.
Oh, no. Well, we're going to get there. We have rants.
But damn, what a fun movie. If you're a fan of DC Comics, and this is something we'll talk about in a little bit too, you just let yourself enjoy it. If you've been reading for decades, if you're a true fan of DC and the genre, you're going to enjoy it. And just let yourself enjoy it. Is it a perfect movie? No.
We're not saying it's perfect.
So the first thing I want to talk about before we get to rants and raves.
Sure.
Is there anything else you want to talk about in the movie?
What, are we getting right into rants and raves?
No, is there anything else you want to talk about before we do that? That we need to talk about? Do we need to flesh out the characters, the personalities at all?
No, because the characters are honestly one of my, I won't say if it's a rant or a rave, but it's going to come up in that section. Sure. So I'll hold off.
So I think the thing we need to distinguish here is the decision that DC has made.
Okay, what decision?
In their cinematic universe. Okay. The DC cinematic universe is different from the Marvel cinematic universe in that Marvel is making movies to bring people into the genre. They're making movies as a gateway, if you will, into their universe. And they're not taking the history of their universe into account when they're making these movies. They're changing the origin stories of their characters. They're changing the personalities of their characters. They're changing the methodologies and motivations of their characters. Sure. And they're definitely aiming towards a comedic, family-friendly vehicle that you could take the whole family to.
It's kind of like a rebirth.
It really is.
Of their universe.
It is. And they're doing it through cinema, and they're not really using it to tell classic stories.
Right.
They're telling new original stories, and they're reshaping their comic universe to match their movies.
Okay.
What DC has done is
the flip of that.
It's the exact opposite.
The inversion. Yep.
They're making movies for fans who have been reading these characters for decades, are steeped in the history of their world.
Right.
All of it, the golden age, the silver age, the bronze age, the modern age, they're pulling for classic stories. I mean, I loved that after credit scene, and we'll hold off on that.
We'll get there.
I mean, that is just like, we've talked about disaster porn and fan service before.
Yeah.
But this was fan service in its truest form. You've been with us for decades. You love these stories, and we're going to give them to you in a film adaptation. And that's a double-edged sword, because if you're not steeped in that history, if you don't know the universe, if you don't know the characters, you're going to feel left out. And that's problematic, because if you're not a true fan of the genre, and I don't see that to be an elitist, if you haven't been with the genre and understand the history, you're not going to be able to get into it and just by watching films.
Right. Absolutely.
We've talked about this. It's a great time for geek culture. We're celebrating comics and sci-fi and fandom, but it's a terrible time to be a geek if you really are a geek and you've lived with these things and this has been your world, in the same way that maybe a sports fanatic like knows every stat and the history of players and teams. Like, that's not our world.
Not at all.
I couldn't tell you like what someone's ERA is, or like what their RBI record is. Yeah.
These things,
you know what I mean? Or like how many times a team has gone to the Super Bowl. I can't tell you those things, but I can tell you the history of the character of Batman or Wonder Woman, the various origin stories, so that's the decision DC has made. And as a fan of the genre, I appreciate that, and I understand why.
Which is probably why we gravitate more towards them.
Yeah,
as well.
Right.
Because it does feel more made for us.
It is. It's and when I say
then made for everyone.
When you say us, you mean people who have been with the genre for a decade.
Sure. I mean, I meant Shades and Sketch. I thought it was a love letter to us.
It was. I mean, they went so far.
They put a little Shades and Sketch in the movie. Yeah. So yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, I don't overly want to make this Marvel versus DC.
No, that's not my point. But I think it's not a versus. It's I don't think critics
are fair,
are just understanding of that when they're reviewing these movies. And they're like, I didn't understand this. This came off as silly as me. Well, yeah, it happened in a comic book.
Right. Yeah. These are comic book movies.
They're comic book movies. And I would argue that they're not making buddy comedies. And if there are funny beats in a movie, that's because like sometimes something tragic can be happening. But hey, you know what? It's kind of funny in the moment.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's not my soapbox, but I think that distinction needs to be put out there because there is a narrative out there right now about these movies and these universes, and just bring some equity to the conversation about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I do feel like this side of the conversation is not fairly balanced out there.
And to the point of, I'm just going to preface this without giving it at the moment. The score for Justice League, the critic score for Justice League, it's unbelievably low.
It is.
It is undeservingly low.
I agree.
And it is just indicative of a bias and a lack of understanding.
Right.
You need to see the movie. It's beautiful. It's well done. It's well written. Not without its problems, of course. I mean, every movie, if you want to nitpick it, has its problems. Yeah. But I'm just going to come out and say it. Rotten Tomatoes, you're off your fucking rocker giving this movie a 39%. That's just ridiculous.
All right, you let the cat out of the bag. Let's just talk about then the Rotten Tomatoes scores for a second, because at this point, when a DC movie comes out,
weeks ahead of time,
you almost have to talk about these Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Right.
If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and I'm going to, and it is funny because I was the one that just said, let's not make this Marvel versus DC.
Right.
But let's take a look at the Marvel movie that's out right now.
Sure.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
And Justice League, right? DC versus Marvel, both in the cinemas at the same time. There are two Rotten Tomatoes scores as of this morning, as we are recording, are, as Shane's already said, Justice League is 39%,
which is down from 46 at opening.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And Thor is
94%.
But right next to that little score is also the fan scores. And as of this morning, it was Thor at 92.
A 92.
And Justice League at an 89.
Right.
Okay. So what are we seeing?
Right.
What are we accounting for that they
are not?
Is it
an I would say having the back history of the characters in the universe and having an appreciation for it.
Do you think, I'm just going to go out and say it, do you think they're going into this with some bias?
Yes, absolutely. And also they're going into this where we'll talk about this more when we talk about Thor, but there are two characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. Mm-hmm. There's the Hulk and there's Tony Stark. Mm-hmm. You have like overpowered beings that smash things and they're super powerful. Mm-hmm. And you have one-line dropping, wisecracking characters. And every character in the MCU is a play on those two archetypes right now.
That's fair.
And that's funny. And we like things that make us laugh. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Just because something doesn't make us laugh doesn't make it well done or entertaining.
So back to DC. I think the meat of this episode, of our episode, is going to be in our rants and raves.
Yes.
We already gave the Rotten Tomato scores. Would you just like to jump right in to our rants and raves of Justice League?
I mean, I think that's where the movie, I think that's where our conversation is going to be.
Absolutely.
Great. So do you want to give your overall score?
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what my score is.
I don't.
You did share with me your score.
Yeah. I gave last night, I gave the score, and when I wrote it down, I was writing my notes, I gave it an 87. Mm-hmm. And in thinking about it and talking about it a little bit this morning, I bumped it up to a 90.
Yeah.
I'm giving this a 90. Justice League gets a 90% from Shades. What's it get from the sketch?
Wow. Okay. So let me back
sure.
up a little bit. Let's go back to last night. Wonderful evening.
Oh my goodness.
Shades
and I should mention.
Yeah.
Longtime listener, JJ.
Yeah, joined us for this.
He won the See Justice League with Shades and Sketch sweepstakes extravaganza.
That was amazing.
It was.
The fanfare, the red carpet.
Yeah, and I want to thank
the photo opportunities.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody who wrote in with their essays explaining why they should be the person to see it with
days going
Shades
over
and Sketch. Yeah, I mean it was really hard, guys, but JJ, you just,
And I got to say, guys, for those of you who sent nudes to us, thank you. Did not factor into who we chose, but I just want to give a personal thank you.
Good on you for standing in the water that long with a shirt off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we saw it last night with the long-time listener, JJ, I was hesitant to formulate my opinion right then and there, because I mean you were geeking out. You were definitionally geeking out. And I was
geeking out hard.
I was geeking out, but like there was that little part of me that was like, all right, hold on, you're fresh off this high.
Yeah,
maybe you're gonna say
you're not
something.
Being objective.
Yeah. So I said I got to sleep on it. I got to mull this over. I got to think about it. I woke up this morning, kind of expecting, based on some previous DC movies, that I was gonna go, you know what? Now that it's over and it's kind of settled in my head. Boy, there were a lot of problems. I woke up this morning going, you know what?
That wasn't that problematic.
I want to fucking see that movie
again. Thank you. Because when before we walked out of the theater, I looked at you and said, can we please see this movie again?
Yeah. And honestly, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie where I've gone, God, I want to see that again.
Thank you.
And so for that reason, and then weighing out my rants and my raves, I'm right with you. I'm right at a 90.
Really?
Yeah, I'm right at a 90.
Wow. That's rare for us that we score a movie
so differently than what's out there, and so tied, you and I.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So long-time listeners, if you're a fan of the show and you're a fan of the genre,
which I hope if you're a long-time listener, you are a fan. Don't put yourself through hell.
Yeah. If you're not enjoying the show.
Maybe they just like the sound of our voices.
Maybe.
Hello.
The soothing sounds of Shades and Sketch. That's a different podcast.
Oh, yeah. That one has a parental podcast. Block.
But if you're a fan of the genre,
go really see it.
Try as hard as you can to ignore what's being said out there on the internet from the critics, and just let yourself enjoy the damn movie. And if you disagree with us, write into the show, go with shadesansketch@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at shadesansketch, because we want to hear from you if you disagree.
Or you can use our Facebook page.
Or Facebook. We're on Facebook.
Well, there's a lot of ways to reach us. We're not. I know Shades was up on a soapbox just a minute ago, but I pulled him off a soapbox, and now he is at the ground level with us. We are not here claiming we are the elitists. Right. We are the purists. Right. And if you disagree with us, you're garbage. Right. No, we want to have a conversation.
We had a lot of fun with this movie.
Back and forth here. Because, well, we're about to get into our rants and raves. Do you want to start with rants, or you want to start with raves?
I want to start with rants.
Okay, I'm willing to do rants first this time because I have some.
Yeah.
But I really don't have many. You want to start one? You want me to start one? Okay.
I'm going to start with my first rant.
Sure. Lay it on.
My biggest rant,
Justice League.
My biggest rant for Justice League is the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Internet, why do you have to hate everything? Can you please just try and find something to appreciate? It doesn't have to be this movie, but try and find something to appreciate. Because for 3 weeks, I've been hearing the movie's unwatchable. It's a complete and utter mess. All of the reshoots don't fit with the rest of the movie. The tone is terrible. He's the worst villain in the history of any comic book movie. It's the worst. Steppenwolf is the worst villain since Thor: Dark World, which is another one of my rants.
I'm going to write down another big question.
And you know what? Internet, just please try and find something to appreciate. Yes, the movie has its problems. We're about to talk about them. But just calm the fuck down and try and appreciate something. Because there was a lot to appreciate in this movie.
Here's the issue. I like to keep real world.
Yeah, separate.
Out of these
We're a real show about fake things.
But now, the goddamn real world is infecting our fake things.
They are.
So much. And
keep your real world politics out of our fake things.
I think the issue that you're addressing here is specific to this movie, sure, but I mean it's a bigger problem in the world right now, is that we harp on the negative. And and here we are, the two of us, sitting down in a decrepit old Russian village, and we nitpick things and we rant about things, sure.
I can dig it.
But in a fun way. We'll rant, but we'll still be like, but then we still rave.
We do.
About anything. What's the lowest we've gone? 50-50? I think my Rogue One score has been our lowest score. Yeah. There's always raves to rants.
Oh my God, you gave a Star Wars movie a lower score than Justice League.
I did.
Wow, Star Wars kid.
Wait a minute.
Right into the show, longtime listeners. If you think...
I would watch Justice League 25 more times in a row than I would
ever watch
start up Rogue One again. Honest to God. I mean...
Oh, man.
Okay, this is a movie.
Tangent, sorry.
This is a movie. Too late. You already made me pull off this exit, and I'm going to go down it. This is a movie that has an orphan with emotional baggage that beats up people, right?
Yes.
It has a sexy corpse, okay? It has a 5,000-year-old goddess who's been removed from her culture and now for 100 years has left mankind behind. Some real downer characters.
Yeah.
So much more fun than Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
An outcast genius who can't
make any friends
or keep a job because he doesn't understand people. Because
you have a teenage. Well, I guess he's a little older than a teenager now, but who thinks he's a monster. Well, he doesn't think he's a monster, but the world treats him as
a
if he's a monster.
1980s surfer boy with a drinking problem.
I can dig it.
I can dig it.
And I would watch this movie over and over again happily. And if you told me we got to sit down and watch Rogue One again, I would probably say, fuck this podcast. I'm out of here. I'm not watching that movie again. And yes, I am Star Wars and you are comic, but I much, 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 much prefer this to what they did to Star Wars with Rogue One. You know what the issue is?
I can dig it.
And again, I don't want to get into this that much, but I'm going to try to pull back onto the freeway.
I'll stop you if you continue down this road too far.
But my issue with Rogue One is kind of the issue that you have with Marvel. I don't like what Rogue One did to the existing universe of Star Wars, whereas this movie of Justice League, I felt in many, many ways was honoring the past of the DC story.
Sure.
Okay. There's where the big difference is between these two things.
Sure.
And wait a minute. We're in rants and you got me raving about this movie. You trickster.
Yeah.
You trickster. So internet.
Rants. Internet.
We're not talking to the internet right now because honestly, there is no talking to the internet.
There isn't.
There really is not. And we're talking to you.
I was talking to that guy that used to dress up as the internet.
Remember him with the top hat with the digital readout that's in the internet? And you could post things on him. Yeah. That was a great
I was a great
cosplay. We're talking to you, longtime listener.
Yes.
Who is looking at these reviews, looking to all this kind of like baggage that comes out before the movie even comes out.
Stop.
Just ignore it. Yeah. Go in as fresh as you can.
A blank slate. A Lockean blank slate.
Obviously, you might be listening to this before you go in, and we might pepper some opinions your way. But I guess what we're really trying to say is you go in just with you.
Yeah.
Just with you. Have a fun time. Follow along with what you can.
Assemble your league.
Yeah.
Get some popcorn.
And
have a good time.
It's a great night. See if longtime listener JJ would write into you and see if he'd go with you.
It's a great essay. I didn't know he admired me so much.
Yeah, it got a little over the top at some points. I felt a little neglected, but all right. But absolutely, internet. What's the opposite of buzz?
Kill.
Okay. Yes. The
can
internet kill.
Can you dig
I can dig it.
Okay.
Was definitely a big rant to this movie, but I can't fault the movie for that. But I get it. It's a rant for the experience of this.
Colored my experience with the movie going into it. Mm-hmm. And I was very anxious and apprehensive about it.
Yeah.
As optimistic as I was. Do you have an actual rant?
Sure. I have an actual rant. I have two rants that I even think are worthy to talk about.
Sure.
I mean, there's lots of things you can nitpick, but which one should I start with? I will start with Steppenwolf. I'll start with Steppenwolf.
Great.
Steppenwolf is our villain for this movie. Do you want to give us the?
I don't truthfully know a lot about Steppenwolf. I
knew very little about Steppenwolf.
In some iterations, he's the nephew of Darkseid. Yep. In this iteration, he's the son of Darkseid. He doesn't, if you're familiar with him from the comics, he doesn't look anything like his classic comic outfit. He actually looks more like Magog from a different
Justice League
an elsewhere Justice League universe called Kingdom Come. Mm-hmm. He, down to his weapon and his headpiece with the horns. He looks like a completely different character. He's kind of a religious fanatic in the sense he wants to bring about unity.
Yeah, let's I guess before we talk about what my rant is, let's talk about his driving force, his motivation.
Sure. He's kind of a religious fanatic. He wants to bring about unity, which is kind of like a world. He wants to terraform the world, and it will
turn into his own hellscape.
Yeah, and basically turn everybody into a parademon,
which are his minions.
Well, they're Darkseid minions, but he controls some of them, and they feed on fear.
You kind of think of he's the general in charge of this, and they're his troops. They feed on fear, correct?
He needs to. Every child of Darkseid was apparently in this universe given a planet they had to conquer, and that's how they get into the pantheon of gods on Apocalypse.
And so, 5,000 years ago, he tried to take over Earth, and he was pushed back.
The Amazons,
the Atlanteans, the tribes of men,
the Guardians. And the tribes
of
Guardians.
You mean the Green Lanterns?
The Green Lanterns. The Guardians of the universe.
Spoiler alert, long-time listeners. We had a Green Lantern in the movie.
We did.
A nondescript Green Lantern, but an obvious Green Lantern.
The Guardians of Oa, the Green Lantern. And all the tribes of men.
And the Greek gods.
The Greek gods and the Amazons.
And all of them. They pushed back Steppenwolf, and he was kind of embarrassed. Yeah. And retreated. He's been in
exile.
And he's been in exile ever since. And he has since he's come back. The story we're given is that now that Superman is dead,
the world is so hopeless.
Yes, that it is right for his taking. And so he's back to take over the world. The way he's going to do this is when he left the first time, he left behind these 3 boxes.
Mother boxes. Which are, again, completely different from the way mother boxes function in the DC comic universe.
But in this movie, you put 3 of these boxes together, and they basically reshape the world into your whatever you want.
Your holodeck.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever you want it to be.
And so when he retreated, we split up the boxes. The Amazons got one, the Atlanteans got one, and Mankind got one.
Mankind buried one like 3 feet down.
3 feet down.
Yeah.
Really solid effort, Tribes of Man.
Good job, Tribes of Man.
Yeah. Honestly, the Amazons built a temple and guarded it for centuries. The Atlanteans, I don't know what the Atlanteans did, but they had a pedestal at least.
The Atlanteans brought it to the bottom of the ocean.
Mankind dug a hole 3 feet
in
down.
The ground. And then forgot about it.
To be fair,
that's so Mankind.
To be fair, it was the last box.
It was found. The best protected.
It was the hardest box to get. So to be fair, Mankind will give it to you. Good job. Good on you,
Good
Mankind. So Steppenwolf is back. He wants to reforge the Earth into his image.
Hellscape.
My issue with Steppenwolf is kind of
his CGI testicle chin.
Sure. His testicle chin was a little jarring.
It was.
What was more jarring to you, his testicle chin or Superman's digital upper lip?
Superman's digital upper lip. That's one of my rants.
Okay, so we'll save that for later. But I guess Steppenwolf was, as far as villains go, he was not the most compelling villain.
Right.
I did not... I don't want to say root for him, because you never root for a villain. But a lot of times a good villain is someone that you at least sympathize with, like a little bit.
Sure.
Or something.
He was a cartoonish, like, mustache twirling villain.
Yeah.
And that doesn't fly in the 21st century anymore.
For this movie, for this story, okay, fine. Because, his real purpose in this story was just to bring the team together.
I would argue that the real villain of this movie was hopelessness.
I thought you were going to say the
state of world affairs.
Ooh,
I like it. That the world has become so destructive, so divided that we are the villain of the movie. Our apathy is the villain of the movie.
Would you say the internet's bad attitude is the villain of this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Steppenwolf is just taking advantage of that.
And the reason he's a rant for me is just, I don't know.
He's generic. I mean, honestly, to me, he looked like a redressed version of the computer modeling for Ares at the end of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, actually, yeah, he did. Yeah, he reminded me almost of, he looked like he belonged like in a Lord of the Rings universe.
Yep.
And which is a little weird because like his parademons don't
look that way at all.
Fit that. They're more of like a sci-fi hellscape kind of thing, and he's more of like a god of the underworld kind of look. I don't know. The CGI in his face was a little disconjointed, a little discombobulating. Sure. You know what I say? Rant something that takes me out. That was just something that, you know, when you see him talk, he talks a lot. He talks about mother called me back.
At first, I thought he was talking about Hippolyta. Then I realized
it's not. I thought he was talking about Martha.
He's just insane.
They all. Your mom's name is Martha too. Did we just become best friends? And they all go back home and they make macaroni art Mother Day cards for Martha Kent.
Oh my goodness, Martha Kent.
That would be an after credit scene. I would have lost my.
Everybody's mom, Martha Kent. Oh my goodness.
It wouldn't be a DC movie without like a mommy issue.
Apparently. Yeah.
Even Wonder Woman kind of had
some mommy issues.
But anyway, so
they won't know what it means.
My issue with Steppenwolf is just he was a little sloppy. He was just production wise, he was a little sloppy. Do you have a rant?
I do have a rant.
Okay.
Aquaman's trip to Atlantis.
That was my other rant. So
it's not clear.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it because I know the history of the character of Aquaman. But it's shoehorned in the same way that a lot of the Lex Luthor stuff felt shoehorned in BVS and a lot of the way the Joker story was shoehorned in Suicide Squad. And I know they felt they needed to introduce the backstory of this character, but it just didn't end up fitting. Like he needed to go back to Atlantis to like
armor up.
He needed the Atlantean armor, and he needed a weapon that would stand up to Steppenwolf.
Yeah,
because like nothing stands up to Steppenwolf's axe except
in general
his trident, which was not actually a trident.
What do you call it when it has? What did it have? 5 points?
It had 4 points.
A quadrant?
I don't.
Is it a quadrant?
It's not a quadrant.
No, it had more than 4 points.
It had 5.
It had to because there's a central longer.
Was
point.
there? Okay. Yeah. Does that make it a menorah?
Is it a menorah 7? Wait, is Aquaman Jewish?
I don't know. Barry Allen is apparently, or was he said he was Jewish.
Yeah. Aquaman's little trip to Atlantis, his little side journey. It didn't fit. Rant for mine. I typically don't like to rant about something if I don't have a constructive solution.
Took me out of the narrative. It just didn't need to be there.
I'll say they probably put it in because without that Atlantis part, you really didn't get any of Aquaman's water power.
True. But you know what would have been better than Aquaman going to Atlantis?
Yeah, lay it on me.
Mera coming to land.
Sure.
To give him, and then like, because we also don't know that Mera is Mera. They never name her. I think he says Mara briefly.
So that's interesting. So you're saying, okay, the part that we're referencing in the movie, for those of you who haven't seen it, and why are you listening to this episode if you haven't seen it? But anyway,
seriously, you should have seen the movie already.
The Amazons have already lost their mother box. Steppenwolf shows up to Atlantis to steal their mother box, and it happens to be the time that Aquaman is
going back to Atlantis.
Home. Now, he has not been back to Atlantis for many, many years.
Maybe ever.
Because he was dropped off on his father's doorstep.
Aquaman is the son of
the Queen
of Atlantis and a human man, mariner.
So he's half and half.
His name's Arthur Curry, and he New Zealand is his hangout.
In this movie? Wasn't it Iceland?
Iceland. They shot it in New Zealand.
Oh,
but it's Iceland.
No, but they referenced it, and they referenced a little Icelandic town in the credits.
Never mind.
So he's basically spending his time kind of helping out this little Icelandic town,
which is where he was raised.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, it's nice. Like he's like a local hero, kind of a thing. I agree with you. I think it would have been neat if instead of him going to Atlantis, Mara tracks him down
to land and like gives him the stuff.
Yeah, and says this is like your birthright.
Right.
Yada yada yada. I'll agree with you. I think that would have been better. It was a little. My issue with it was like I didn't understand Aquaman's motivation.
Right.
He seemed to be very removed from this world, but then the mother box gets taken, and Mara's like, "You have to. It's your birthright to protect it and get it back." And he's just.
Well, she does say to him, "Only you can go to land."
And is it because of his father?
I think so.
Okay.
That he can walk on.
So
it was poorly done. I don't know if that's true.
You know more Aquaman than me, and you don't even know that much Aquaman.
I don't know that much about
Aquaman. I know a little bit of Aquaman, more than a typical moviegoer. It was still a confusing, muddled, murky scene.
Very, yes.
So I agree. That was another part that should have been reworked in some way. That was a rant that left me wanting.
Yep.
In the movie. I'll be honest. Other than those two things,
that was it. I have one more.
Okay, lay it on.
Superman's CGI mustache.
Oh, yeah.
It's just they needed to dedicate more time to that, but I understand because they did reshoots really late, and that was the best they could do with the CG. It is distracting. It did take me out of the movie, so it's a rant. That's kind of like a side thing. But Superman's like evil for 5 minutes and attacks everybody. And
that was a rant for you?
The way it played out was a rant for me.
I was okay with
I liked the scene.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good scene.
One of my raves is evil Superman tossing Batman like a rag doll, which we'll get to.
So then what about that scene is a rant for you? Like what?
Just how quickly it's resolved. And clearly he recognized them all. So why?
Well, he recognized Wonder Woman and Batman.
Yeah. So like
he didn't know the others. All right, maybe we should lay out the scene again for
okay. Superman is newly reborn. He's confused. He's back to life.
He's been reanimated by Batman and the team.
Batman and the team in the waters of the Kryptonian ship with
a mother box.
Which I'm sure there will be consequences for at some point in a later movie.
He
flies to his statue, which he finds still crumbled, lying broken and ruined. Very, very symbolic for where Superman is at this point.
He's also shirtless and glistening. Which we will talk about later.
Yeah.
Long-time listeners, we're going to get into that glistening bod a little bit later.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Wait, is that for the Shades and Sketch Central Hour?
Yeah, that's the...
we'll pepper it for this episode, too.
Just how quickly it played out. And I also liked that it was quick, because that could have derailed the movie and taken me out of the narrative even more.
I'm having a hard time finding your rant in all this.
It was jarring if they were going to do a Superman's confused and like we don't know if we can count on him. I feel like it was resolved too quickly. Because clearly when you watch the trailers, that was a bigger conceit of the original version of the film. Because in the trailer, we do get this scene where we speculated it was a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
It's Superman.
You think that should have been Superman?
It was Superman. I'm convinced it was Superman when Alfred's like, Master Bruce said you might arrive.
Where I originally thought that was
and his powers are different.
Oh, okay.
Because we also know from the trailers, from the toys, and from the official companion book that Black Suit Superman was in the movie.
Okay. So you think this is a Whedon change?
They reshot this. I think this is a Whedon change to abandon the Superman Returns story and do an original Return of Superman. So it was quicker, and I think that would have made more sense if Superman was like crazy and didn't know exactly who he was and is legitimately pissed off at Batman because like the last time I saw you, you were trying to kill me.
Yeah.
And now you won't even let me die. You won't let me live. You won't let me die. Like I'm your slave, basically. You're taking my free will away. I feel like that would have been a big, it didn't fit in the movie we got, and I'm glad it wasn't there, but it was just take the whole thing out. Just take the whole fight out. I don't know. The way it felt shoehorned in a similar way that Atlantis was shoehorned in.
Okay. This is going to be a spot where we differ.
We disagree.
Because for you, it's a rant, and I didn't even write this in my rave category, but I'm going to put it now to counter you in my rave. Well,
it's also category. In my rave category.
Well, that's true. So let's go right into raves then.
Great.
But let's keep talking about this scene.
Sure.
Because I thought it was wonderful. I really honestly did.
The scene is wonderful. Where it fits in the movie is my issue.
I'm trying to remember where exactly it fits. So Batman comes up with this plan after they get the mother box, the Mankind mother box. The Mankind and Cyborg box. Kind of explains. Cyborg has been birthed by the mother box.
He is part apocalyptic technology. Yeah. That's what he's merged with in this iteration of
and Cyborg. So Cyborg's kind of telling the group like what the mother box is capable of, and Batman basically immediately goes to let's use it to resurrect Superman.
Bring back Superman.
And Wonder Woman against it kind of divides the team.
Yeah.
Right down the middle on this.
Aquaman
sides with Wonder Woman. Cyborg sides with Batman.
Yeah.
And Barry's
Barry is just a kid who's happy to be there.
Yeah, he's just out of the
I'm sorry. I think he actually says, I'm sorry, I stopped listening at We're All Gonna Die.
Yeah, that was later.
Oh,
but
okay.
The same I'm sure the same kind of thing happened in this. But so Batman.
Oh no, he was. I'm sorry. I'm so hungry. I need to eat something.
Yes, yeah. His blood sugar was super low.
Blood sugar was too low.
So Batman wants to use this tech to resurrect Superman. Wonder Woman is kind of afraid of what this is going to do.
Having just fought Darkseid.
Right.
I'm sorry. Doomsday.
Right.
Who was created
basically the same way. Wonder Woman had fair points.
Yep.
Right. What I really liked about it was what you kind of uncovered after Superman was brought back to life, and he, Batman shows up on the scene. Superman is basically ready to murder him.
Yes. Superman is holding him by the face.
By the face, not the
neck. The face.
By the face. And you're hearing crinkling
and cracking.
And he says, oh, it was a great line. He said, you won't let me live, and you won't let me die. And then he goes, tell me, do you bleed?
Yeah.
And you hear the cracking of it. Oh, it was good.
It was amazing. And then just tosses him like a rag doll. Like, you're not even, like, you're so minuscule compared to my power. You're not even a threat for me to kill.
But the other thing I liked about it was in this scene, you kind of come to terms with the fact that Batman
made a mistake.
Resurrected him. Yeah, he's trying to justify his mistake.
Yeah.
He is
the reason Superman is dead is because of what my misjudgment.
Yes, and it was wrong of me.
Yes.
To do that. And
I need to fix
not only did we resurrect you because we need you for this fight, but I resurrected you because I have to right my wrongs. This is Batman admitting
we get another
he was wrong.
Scene in which Alfred's kind of against him doing this too. Mm-hmm. Alfred's like, you can be the beacon of hope. You can lead the team.
This was good too.
And he's like, no, I can't.
They need Clark.
They need Clark because he's more human.
He's more human than me. He's lived with the people. Yes. He's had a job. He's loved. Batman recognizes that he is more alien.
Yep. To humanity than Superman is.
And not only do they need Superman,
they need Clark.
They need Clark Kent. Yeah. And I'm getting a little emotional talking about it.
I know.
Like, that was great.
It is.
And again, I am not. God, I was the one that said I don't want to make this Marvel versus DC, but I'm going to make him another Marvel versus DC connection here. I don't think I've felt that sort of emotional response to a scene in one of these superhero movies in a long time.
I'll go further than that. I will say this is what Civil War, Rhodey's paralysis, lack of paralysis, whatever, that was supposed to evoke that kind of emotion failed.
Absolutely. There's a big joke there.
Yeah. And this was much more It tugged at my heartstrings.
It did. But there was still a little comedy.
But I can dig it.
I can dig it. There was, when Superman was like, "Oh, I know you didn't bring me back because it was because you like me," and Batman's like, "Well, I don't not like you." Like, okay, like it's a little campy, it's a little silly, but you know what?
But it's something you would expect of someone who's like so devoid of humanity and relationships.
Right. He doesn't know.
I don't like. What is the appropriate response here? Like, I'm sorry.
So I thought,
like Batman doesn't know how to make friends.
I thought that was just a great message.
Yeah. I thought so too.
More than just in this movie, to the world itself.
Yeah,
we don't just need Superman's powers. We need his
good people.
We need good people, and Clark is a good person, and that is what's
he's the
going
Boy
to help.
Scout.
Yeah,
he's the Boy Scout,
and
he is the definition of hope springs eternal.
So in a lot of ways,
wait, is the expression actually youth springs eternal?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't even know the expression that you're talking about.
Is that the opposite? That's not the saying. Is that the opposite of the saying?
Strong men are strongest alone. That's not the saying.
That is the opposite of the saying.
But I can dig it. But here's the thing. I don't want to spend all this time talking about this, but I am going to let it go into a bigger rave of mine in general, which is just the characters themselves. Okay. So right now we're talking about Batman and Superman.
Great.
We'll leave them alone now.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about them. But Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg, all of them
characters.
But all of them were elevated in this movie. All of them, they didn't just take Wonder Woman from the Wonder Woman movie. She grew. She grew in this movie too.
Yep.
You didn't just get comic relief Aquaman, which certainly he was there for comic relief, but he went a little deeper. Another ocean pun. Cyborg, which I had no expectations going into this movie. What a
tragic character.
Character with amazing growth.
Yeah.
In this movie.
In a short period of time.
Very short period of time.
Like, way to do an origin story well.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, and maybe people say, like, he deserves his own movie. Maybe he does. But if you don't get your own movie for an origin story, way to do an origin story well in a short amount of time. Same thing with Flash. Way to do an origin story well in a short amount of time.
I mean, everybody, I thought, with the exception of Aquaman's Atlantis scene, and maybe his motivation was a little bit hazy. I mean, everybody was there for their own purpose.
Yes.
Everybody was fighting for the team, sure, for the greater good, but they had a personal stake.
Yes.
In this conflict. It wasn't just like, I'm going to grab you.
If Barry Allen does not do well, nobody will feed him and he will die.
Yes.
That's his motivation.
And so will his father in prison. So, and I'm going to go one step further. So there's our team. I also like the supporting characters.
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Gordon.
Introduced in one movie and like, wow.
Loved him.
What
did he have? 4 lines, but I loved every single line.
Maybe not even.
I'm excited to see more of this.
Give me more J.K. Simmons. You know
what? I'm going to go. You might punch me. You might slap me across the face for saying
I might grab you by the face and squeeze.
Yeah, definitely bleeding.
You know, he did say that. He quit. Like,
he was crumpled on the ground. Yes.
Something's bleeding. Definitely bleeding.
Lois Lane. I was fine with Lois Lane in this movie.
Yeah, I will agree.
Not a lot was riding on her.
This is a criticism of the movie of what they did to like the strong character of Lois Lane. But I feel like Lois Lane's always a bulldog who's just like strong woman and never has vulnerability. There's a lot of vulnerability from Lois Lane in this movie.
Let's pause. Let's break it down. Let's get real here.
Okay,
I'm moving into you.
Here we go. Sketch is looking longingly into my eyes right now. It's a little awkward.
Oh, now I'm licking my lips. Yeah. Strength does
Welcome to Late at Night with Chance and Sketch.
Hello. I can dig it. Strength is not being invincible. Strength is not being strong at all times. Strength is showing up despite weaknesses.
Wait, can I quote another niche genre hero?
This is Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch. You can do whatever you like.
It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you hit and keep going.
There you go.
There you go.
And I mean, that's exactly it.
It was a terrible Sly Stallone.
Lois Lane. That was Stallone. Oh my god!
Oh, so terrible.
I thought it was like a garbage man.
Great. Excuse me. Sanitation.
Lois Lane was broken.
We are geeking out here.
We are
long time listeners.
And you know what? We're on the ropes. We're doing a little defense here, and I think we have to. I mean, that's what our voices are for.
Drago's landed his punches, but we're not going down.
She was crushed in this movie.
She was. She's broken in this movie.
And that's fine. That does not detract from the strong character that she is. She's human. She loves Clark.
She does.
I mean, this has nothing to do with her strength. This has everything to do with her humanity and her love.
And that doesn't make her less strong. It actually makes her a more developed character.
Absolutely. I mean,
a real character, not a two.
Yes, real. That's a good way to put it.
Not a two-dimensional.
She breaks down when Clark is back and she's so happy. She breaks down and says, I wasn't strong. I let you down.
Right.
I mean, God, I'm getting emotional again doing this. This is that thing. You don't have this depth of emotional breadth in other superhero movies.
You don't.
She had a real world,
visceral reaction
to what happened in BVS.
Her fiance, love of her life.
And yeah, she broke down. She did fluff pieces. She wasn't the reporter that she promised Clark she'd be anymore. Guess what? That happens in the real world.
Yeah. Like,
okay,
that shit happens. Maybe you haven't experienced it yet in your life. Like, good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, seriously. But that happens.
And it makes her
a real
person, which makes her strength that much more powerful.
Yes.
And I don't mean powerful with muscles. I mean like emotionally charged and powerful.
Like,
that's why she's strong.
Batman has just been flung like a rag doll.
Yeah,
and
you
she
keep
puts
coming
herself
back to that.
in front of Superman.
Yeah.
Like that.
Superman has taken out every member of the Justice League. And she steps out of that car.
Like a boss.
Yeah.
So I will disagree with that criticism of the movie.
Absolutely. There. So I mean, characters is a big.
I'll piggyback onto your characters. Flash and Cyborg.
What a great!
Oh my goodness!
What a great little duo.
Spoiler alert! And I'm going to pause.
Okay.
If you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to pause here. You should stop.
Am I
significant amount of pause. When Flash and Cyborg are digging up Superman in their Rosencrantz and Guildenstern moment. Oh my god! And Barry just wants a friend.
He just wants a friend.
He's trying to come on, give me a fist bump. We're not there yet. Okay. And 5 seconds later, another fist. We're still not there.
Cyborg
He's trying so hard, and you don't even notice at the time, but it's the thing that has to happen for Cyborg to realize because this happened to him. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make him any less human or any less cut off from humanity. Right. The Flash is just as, if not more, relationshipless and alone.
Absolutely.
And clueless.
I mean, Cyborg at least has his father.
Yeah.
Cyborg has a history of being a very popular human being.
Yeah.
Barry Allen has legitimately probably been a loner since his father was incarcerated.
Yeah. He doesn't get it. No. That whole scene is just wow, character development. And
you think
is it Barry that says we're the accidents?
Yeah, Barry says that we're the accidents. I mean, you think because you're used to these kind of movies that Cyborg's going to save the day and he's going to find out he has value.
Right.
No, Barry Allen shows him he has value before anything else. Barry Allen sees him as
thinks he is so cool.
Yep. And he's he's geeking out about all these superpowered people around him. But I mean, he sees himself in Cyborg.
Yeah.
And he sees that hey, you know what? There's these top tier guys that we're working with here. You and I, we should, become close.
Right.
And that's what Cyborg needs more than to save the day.
Right.
Spoiler alert. Cyborg also saves the day.
Yeah.
But I would argue 110% that if it's Barry's relationship with
give me a fist bump, man. Yeah. And he finally gets it at the end.
He finally gets the fist bump in that nice little slow motion right after he says, "Booyah."
And
if you are wondering if we were getting a booyah,
we get one.
Oh,
and we lost our shit. Oh my goodness, did we geek out? To the point where people around us were like
longtime listener JJ turned to me and said,
is that
Is that like his catchphrase?
Yes.
Yes, it is. I had given up even before going into this movie. I just thought this is not going to be a booyah cyborg. Yeah. Okay. Booyah. But then when I got it, I lost it. Oh, that was good. Amazing. That was good. You got another rave?
Oh, do I have raves?
I have more raves too.
Is it my turn? I was piggyback on yours.
Yeah. Just do one.
Aquaman sitting on the lasso of truth.
Oh, I didn't write that down, but I love
pouring his soul out to the team.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't even remember what he said because I was like just laughing so hard.
I remember thinking to myself,
it's like, wow, this is like a moment. This is crazy. I thought it was going to be like like wimps. And then like he was getting so earnest, fun of them,
but not in a way that I was like, this is obviously the last of truth. Like,
right?
It just
guys are like, I'm really worried that we're probably all going to die, but I'm okay with that because I've never been a part of anything before. And
yeah, he really just started
like, oh man, this is like about to go over the top of the trench moment.
Yeah.
And then I thought
Bruce just kind of gestures down like, look.
Like, and I'm like, what is he gesturing to?
Yeah.
He's just sitting on the lasso of
truth. That was a great little scene.
Oh my goodness.
That's how you do comedy in these kind of movies. Yeah,
and like a vulnerability, like and then Wonder Woman, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, that was a great. Aquaman had a ton of great scenes, a ton of great comedic moments. That was probably my favorite.
Yeah. I think that was my favorite comedic moment.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I probably laughed harder and more in Thor Ragnarok, but they were spoiler alerts for Thor Ragnarok. They were cheap jokes designed to make me laugh hard, and that was genuine humor and like.
We'll talk about when we talk about Thor Ragnarok. But Thor Ragnarok was definitely a comedy.
This was not a comedy.
This was not a comedy.
This was like hit me in like the deepest place of like every time you've like tried to like quote man up or like be like.
Well, this movie
was like real fun.
This is what I keep coming back to. This movie had highs and lows, emotional highs and emotional lows.
Yeah, it was emotional humor.
Yeah, so you do have these pits that we've already talked about, these moments of despair, but you also have these moments of levity, which going back and forth. That's why you go to a movie, so you can be on this ride,
a roller coaster that you don't always get in movies.
The two characters, everyone had something a little funny. Even Batman had some good little funny things.
Batman had some great one-liners,
but. Definitely your two, quote unquote, air quoting here, good audio, Barry Allen and Aquaman. Those are our two comedy characters, and they hit the mark.
They did
consistently hit the mark.
Yeah, they hit all the beats.
I don't think I ever really groaned at a joke in this. I wasn't like,
what it was. It wasn't like. So there's two types of humor, right? Mm-hmm. There's like funny ha-ha, and then there's like real funny.
Yeah.
It's like Jerry Lewis used to talk about this. It's like funny ha-ha is like a pie in the face. Funny ha-ha is like slip on a banana peel.
Sure.
Or like and then there's like real humor.
I almost did a reference to Thor Ragnarok, but I'm going to save it for our Thor Ragnarok episode.
Good.
Should I go into a rant? We're done with
please. We're done with rants.
I have these as two separate raves, but I'm gonna put them together because I think you are actually gonna want to say a lot about this too. I like all of the callbacks to classic Justice League and Golden Age of Comics, but also I'm going to put into that the musical score of this movie.
Yes, it's one of my raves. I have that written here.
Yeah.
Do you want to? It's your rave. Do you want to talk about it?
What should I start with? Should we start with the music?
Yeah.
You have some classic, like redone and what do you call that? Because you know music better than I do. Like when you take the classic song and you kind of like make it a little different, but you can still hear the song in it.
Remix.
Okay, so they remixed some of the, classic Batman theme, the classic Superman
theme. We're talking 1992, Danny Elfman, original motion picture score to Batman.
And they
1989.
They even did it to Wonder Woman's.
Yep, 1978 theme. Superman by John Williams, and then the Wonder Woman's theme that we've come to know.
And this plays right into what we've been talking about with, if you have the history with this content,
right,
it makes it that much more powerful for you. It makes it that much more involved for you because you're hearing this music, and whether or not you're consciously making the connection,
there were times
welling up with these connections.
When we heard the Batman theme for the first time, I actually missed it. I was so in that moment of like, oh my God, it's where am I? It's 2017 and I'm sitting in a theater and like Batman's on a dark rooftop dangling a guy off the side of the building to the original motion picture score. Like, whoa, is it like where is that Michael Keaton or Ben Affleck? I don't know what's happening here. I missed it. You were like, oh man, that's it. I was like, oh, that's it. And I didn't even realize it
because it's not bonk you over the head with it.
Right. It was so subtle.
It's integrated into the score so nicely that it's
you know what it was?
At the back of your head.
What it was?
What was it?
I was like, it's my childhood.
It is.
Hey, there you are. Mm-hmm. There you are.
Sure, there's definitely like some nostalgia,
Welcome
but
back.
Not in this new like 2017
right,
nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like, look, I got Dunkaroos for us to have. This episode brought to you by Dunkaroos. But just like I'm just gonna sneak it in. Some people who are very aware of it are gonna to know it, and other people might not have it at the front of their mind, but it's gonna fill them with that memory. It's going to bring back
Superman
those emotions.
Finally flew in his costume. You get the Superman
same thing. Wonder Woman, which doesn't have the history.
Doesn't have the history of it.
But it was nice to see that it was remixed in a way that it
fit with the rest of the movie. Yeah. Like when we first heard Wonder Woman's theme in BVS, it was so Yeah, it was like it took you out of the moment. It was like, what is happening? I love her theme.
I love it. It fits.
I love the way her.
But this was really melted into this. It was like, if you think of the score as like a recipe, like all the flavors just came together and made a delicious.
Right. Rather than a 3-course meal, it was. I don't know.
You took it too far.
I did.
I'm just talking about...
like in that moment, you looked at me and went, oh shit, where's this going?
Yeah. No, don't think of a 3-course meal, listeners. Think of a stew and everything melded together really nicely. It's not like the stew had gummy bears in it and like metal tacks. Okay, everything went real nice together.
Thanks for pulling that back, Sketch.
No problem. So yeah, music and other callbacks. Let's talk about another callback to classic Justice League. The first after credit scene.
The first after credit scene, we get the race.
The race. Longtime listeners, you probably know what we mean when we say the race. But for those of you who don't.
Very, very I guess we should have looked this up before we started, and I don't have my device in here anymore.
Well, you start talking, I'll look it up on my phone.
So one of the most iconic images in all of superhero genre, the race between Flash and Superman to see who is faster. And they race to the West Coast.
Yep.
It's a charity event. And Flash narrowly beats out Superman.
Most times the Flash beats Superman by a narrow margin.
And it was this great moment. If Barry wins, he gets to tell everybody he beat Superman, and if Superman wins, Barry has to take the whole team to brunch,
which was a nice callback.
It was a very nice callback.
A little dig that Bruce had.
Yeah, and there's two very iconic images of this race. It's Flash and Superman. I guess there's three. There's Flash and Superman on the starting line because they've done the race a couple times. Mm-hmm. There's Flash and Superman like neck and neck, and Barry's like in full sprint, and Superman's kind of like really both arms ahead, like flying. Mm-hmm. And then there's the straight on headshot of them just like looking to the horizon and running right towards you.
Which is what we got.
We got all three.
Well, we did get all three, but we ended on that shot.
Very famous image.
So I looked it up, and the very first time it showed up was in Superman number 199 in 1967.
All right. So I'm wrong about where it appeared, but it's a very iconic image.
And it's reappeared
a number of times.
So when that is your after credit scene, it leaves you on a really positive really positive high at the end, because they definitely could have gone
dark side.
Yeah, Steppenwolf groveling before
mother.
But they didn't. Instead they went with
Ares,
with a way of once again
Doomsday,
looking back, nodding with a smile on their face to where they've come from.
Like, thank you for your patronage.
Yeah.
Thank you for your readership. We get it.
Yeah.
We get it.
So that was great.
We get it. Sorry if you don't get it. But again, they're making these movies for the fans.
I mean, it's hard for me to make this assumption because I do get it.
Right.
But what's there to get about that? Like this, I can't imagine.
It's just fun.
It's just fun. I mean, it's the fastest man alive versus another
Superman.
fastest man alive. That's going to bring me, I know I did the last rave, but this does pepper really nicely into my next
go for it.
Rave. Just because that was an after credit scene. Can we talk about the final after credit scene?
And let me preface this with
big spoilers.
Big spoilers.
Okay, wait. If you haven't seen the movie and are planning to see the movie, I don't want you to know what I'm about to say because this was huge.
You need to turn the episode off right here.
Yeah,
and go see the movie.
And if you don't stay to the very end and see this, you only have yourself to blame.
Right.
Okay. So
let's do a 2 Mississippi.
Okay.
1 Mississippi.
2 Mississippi.
All right.
Now can we talk about it?
You've been warned.
Okay. So here we go. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the movie. And at the very end of the credits, we have an after credit scene.
Wait, can we do the whole setup?
Sure. I mean, I thought I was setting up the setup.
Okay, go for it.
That it's after the credits. That's all I've gotten to so far.
We think we're getting...
Oh, we thought we were probably going to get a Green Lantern
Lantern reveal.
Right, because the Green Lantern that's shown in this movie does die and his ring flies off.
His ring flies off. Steppenwolf kind of sees it and there's a ring on Earth.
Yep. So we know, those of us in the know.
And if you listen to our Speculation Spectacular...
Yeah, we thought it might and it might not.
This is what we were thinking. So we're going to get all right, so that was a really cool end credit scene sketch. Are we going to get another one? And the whole credits roll. And usually they don't wait until the credits are done to give you a scene anymore. These were done. It was all of the production companies and then an after credit scene. And we turned to each other.
Yeah.
And we're like, Green Lantern?
Yep.
And
we thought that's what we were going to get.
We really thought we were getting Green Lantern.
But we did not get Green Lantern. We start
in
a prison.
Arkham Asylum.
Was that where he is in?
Yes.
I didn't get that it was Arkham.
It's the asylum door.
Oh, okay.
And we're led to believe the guard is calling Luthor, and he says, "Stop joking around."
Yep.
Are they gonna? And he's kind of laughing. Are we about to get Lex Luthor gassed with Joker?
That's what I thought we were going to get.
I thought we were going to get Lex
Luthor
gassed with Joker toxin.
But instead we get just random guy gassed with Joker toxin. Yes. I mean, so it's also not only is it bringing in Lex Luthor, but it's also depositing
random guy gassed with Joker toxin.
Some Joker. And then we flash to another location.
On a boat. A silhouette. 2 swords
and a little bandana kind of flapping in the wind, and you immediately
wait a minute.
Yes.
I don't even know if you're aware if you did this. Yeah, this makes for great audience sketch. I look over at you, I go, "Oh my god!" And this is you.
Okay, this is great great
audio.
Yeah.
You're on the edge of your seat,
on the edge of my
gripping both armchairs, just about to fall out of your seat.
I will not deny it. I was stoked.
Unbelievable.
Death stoked.
Long time listener JJ, no idea what's happening. Guys, are you what? Can we leave?
So it is.
It's okay, JJ. It's okay.
We're happy to have it.
Yeah. Thanks for writing the essay.
Slade
Wilson,
the Terminator. A great looking Slade. Getting onto a pleasure yacht, big pleasure yacht.
Icon. The boat's name is Icon.
Okay. Because whose boat is it?
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor is, he has found out about the team.
Here's the thing with that boat. I saw that boat this past summer in Newport.
Oh, interesting.
It's a very famous yacht icon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Richie Rich here.
I just happened to see it.
You saw it from your yacht?
No, I saw it from the sailboat that we were sailing.
What have you been doing with your podcasting money?
Building this super sweet... GoCo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Adding rooms to it.
So we get that Lex Luthor he has found out about their little team up, the heroes team up, and
it's time for us to form our own league.
Yeah. And so you get Deathstroke and you got Lex Luthor, and it opens up to who else could it be? We don't know. Let me tell you what an after credit scene, because way, way far off the mark of what I was expecting to get.
Yes.
Talk about the definition of geeking out.
Yes.
I was geeking out.
Totally surprised.
To to the point where there was like a kid in front of us. Remember the kid?
It was like, that's Death.
Yeah, he could have come up with the name.
Something.
Stumbling over it. And Shades goes, Deathstroke the Terminator. And the father was like, get away from my child.
No, he was like, is that his name?
Yeah. No, they were very nice.
Yeah, they were very nice. Deathstroke the Terminator. It was awesome, right?
It was not only just that it was Deathstroke, who if you're in this world, you really love it. He looked fantastic.
Great.
But a complete shock.
Yeah.
Absolutely complete shock. There was nothing anywhere sprinkled in any of the promotional materials, in anything in the movie that would lead you to believe this.
Well, we got a tweet. We got a tweet a little while ago when they were talking about the Batman movie, the standalone Batman movie, that Deathstroke was going to be the villain. And we got a tweet from Ben Affleck that said, Joe Manganiello, welcome to the Batcave, or something like that. But then we learned that Deathstroke was removed from the Batman movie, and the Batman movie's kind of like in a weird place right now.
It is in a weird place right now.
Maybe it's part of the DCEU, maybe it's not, maybe it's an origin story. We don't really know. But
I do know we'll see it.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, we will go see it.
Oh my God, take my money!
Yeah. What an after credit scene. That is
surprise.
how you do an after credit scene.
Yeah.
And again, proving the point that DC is looking at its fans for its after credit scene.
Yeah.
If you didn't know who that was, there was nothing in that to help you.
No, nothing. You just had to know.
Sorry. Like, and I'm not saying that in a mean way.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. If you didn't know, I'm not trying to be an elitist, or I'm not trying to take anything away from you. It's a thank you.
You know how
thank you for your readership.
You brought up sports earlier. You know how like there's like that trope of like the annoying person who doesn't know anything about sports sitting in a game and being like, why did they do that? What's that? How do they get those points? And that's annoying to the people who get it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Let us enjoy it for a second.
Yeah.
We'll explain it to you. But not in the moment. Not in the moment. Don't ruin the moment with explanations.
Let me have this.
So
please.
There you go.
Just appreciate it.
Do you have any more raves? Because I feel like we've been on raves for a while.
I do. I have one more rave.
To be on raves.
I have a couple more raves.
Okay.
I'll kind of lump them all together.
Sure.
Because again, it is character stuff, and we already talked about that.
The whole movie.
Yeah, I loved this movie so much. I really did. Aquaman, Batman was a great pairing.
Great pairing.
And their interactions together.
I don't think anybody in this movie felt like they had forced interactions.
I agree.
I earnestly felt like the way everyone in this movie talked to each other and treated each other was earnest to their character.
You know, and honestly, you know what it reminded me of?
Sure.
And you might want to attribute this to Joss Whedon. You might not, because I really don't think Joss Whedon had that big of a fingerprint on this movie. It was a Zack Snyder movie.
It really still felt a lot like a
Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
There were some things where you could say, okay, that's classic Joss Whedon writing if you know what to look for. But it really felt like Firefly. The way the characters interacted with each other, like nobody's a main character. It's an ensemble. That's a good point. There's no Tony Stark.
Who would you call the main character of this movie?
Nobody.
You can't figure out.
You know who I would call the main character of the story, and maybe this is the problem with him: Steppenwolf.
Maybe that is an issue. Maybe
that's the issue. That Steppenwolf is the main character.
Too far out in front.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the Justice League is the Justice League. It's not like I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Do what I say. It's not like I'm Superman. I'm awesome. I lead the team. It's not like I'm Wonder Woman. I don't know why
here's
whatever.
Southern Belle, Wonder Woman.
I don't fucking know, man.
I declare.
You smell nice.
Oh God.
We'll get there.
Was weird.
We'll get there.
The main character of this movie was the League.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No one stepped out more than anyone else. They were all together. All together. Right now. And
over us,
and I think that was great. Over we.
Over we.
There you go. And I think that was done in a way that we haven't seen in other team movies.
Yep.
Someone's always coming out front. I don't think anyone came out front in this movie.
And I will say that's a major difference between Avengers and Justice League. Mm-hmm. Tony Stark always looms larger than any other character, and it always devolves into something about Iron Man. Mm-hmm. And you don't get that in this movie.
No, you don't.
I hope they continue with it.
Everyone had weaknesses.
Not to make it a Marvel versus a DC thing. But
I know.
Everybody had strengths.
It is hard, though. I mean, it is hard to not.
I have 2 more rings.
Okay, then we got to move on to some new sections.
Emphasis on Batman's vulnerability.
Yeah.
And human. Like,
oh yeah, that's again part of his character.
Oh,
in this movie,
someone like it's Batman. It's always been Batman, and I left this theater immediately asking, like, are we going to see the death of Batman at some point? They seem to keep alluding to this, that he can't do this forever.
Yeah. I think that's the benefit of having a Batman who has been doing this for 20
years. This is, and a lot of the problem with Batman in BVS was like, why is Batman killing people? Like, why is Batman like this? We're seeing Batman at the end of his career.
Yeah.
This is a Batman close to the end. This is his
ideology.
That
started things off.
This is Batman's swan song.
Yeah.
And if you look at the source material that they're pulling for with Dark Knight Returns, Batman kills lots of people in Dark Knight Returns. He kills the Joker. Spoiler alert.
Whoa. In
Dark Knight Returns, like straight up murders Joker.
I'd be
violently.
Totally happy if they did that to Jared Leto's.
I would also.
Joker.
But so like this is a Batman at the twilight of his career, and now we're picking up after that, and we're seeing an older, old tiger sensing the end Batman. Who's found new hope and is going to try and do this as long as he can. Now.
He's certainly not weak and feeble,
struggling.
He's not like old man Batman,
right.
But he's
a Batman that breaks easily.
Yes,
easily.
A lot of people's issue with Batman, a lot of times, like people who are not in this world, is that like he's just a guy
with money.
How do you do this? How does he stand up to all this? This movie really deposits that Batman cannot
do this.
Okay. Yeah. He is way out of his league.
Yeah. To the point where
he's smart. He has gadgets.
Yeah.
He can hold his own. He is holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, he is
so out of his league.
It makes us miss the day of wind up exploding penguins.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like this is way beyond what Batman signed up for. And we saw that really well in this movie.
Yeah.
He is a vulnerable human being.
To the point where there's a big criticism about like they're trying to shoehorn a romance between Wonder Woman and Batman.
No, I love that.
I also love that.
It was not over the top.
I didn't think so.
Barely saw it at all.
But at one point, Wonder Woman's dressing his wounds and like puts his arm back in the socket.
Fucking sexist can you be? God damn it!
I think it's really interesting.
The internet,
because in a typical superhero movie, we'd get like. Here's the point where like maybe this is me projecting into it. Wonder Woman's taking care of Batman. Not only is she taking care of Batman, she's taking punches for Batman. He is so out of his league and so vulnerable that he tries to sacrifice himself. Like he goes in to face like don't wait for me.
Yeah.
If I don't,
you do your job.
Do your job. Get the mission done.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And it leaves Wonder Woman in charge.
And Wonder Woman's like, no.
Yeah, her lead is like, it's my choice.
We're going to save you.
We're going to go help him.
We're going to go help you.
Yeah.
You don't know. We're a team.
Yeah, and Aquaman's like, she decided and we didn't really get a vote.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
I can dig it. The whole team is taking a hit for Batman and the whole time in this movie. I like turning that on its head.
The relationship between Wonder Woman and Batman in this movie.
They're the only two characters with a relationship
because
and a backstory.
Yes, they met in BVS, but you can kind of infer from what is said in this movie and what was kind of uncovered in the Wonder Woman movie that they have at least been in contact throughout this time.
Right.
Right. They're the only characters from the League who have any history at all. I'm not saying any romantic history. I'm not saying any sexual history. I'm just saying a history.
Right.
In this movie, all you really get is like mutual respect, friendship, support, things that you can assign to a relationship without assigning any sort of romantic overtones.
It's not a romantic relationship.
You could see how from here
it might develop.
It might develop into it, but this is not like you're hot, I'm hot, we're both mutually attracted to each other.
Yeah. Kind of. It's not like a lustful kind of.
They were the closest friends. They're the
respect.
closest friends on the team.
Yeah, it's a respect
And so
thing.
it makes sense. All the rest of the team goes off and does their jobs. Batman kind of goes off to lick his wounds. Wonder Woman sees that, cares for Bruce.
Right.
Because they're friends.
And he's pulled her back into the world.
Yeah. They both help each other.
They do.
I mean, Batman lays out some hard truths.
He does. Yeah.
And really makes her accept some of her responsibility in some things.
So do you have any more raves?
Nope.
Should we?
Other than I just loved it.
Yeah. Should we transition into our new segment?
Let's transition to our new segment because we're basically doing it right now. We're not going to do this segment for all of our movies, but this one, yes.
So this segment is a new segment.
We didn't name this segment.
We didn't, but it's basically Shades and Sketch.
Counter critics. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Shades and Sketch. Counter critics.
Great. So there are 3 big criticisms of this movie.
Okay. Lay them on me, because like I said, I really do not look.
The first criticism is kind of the inherent sexism and misogyny of the movie. And there are a couple examples that people point to. The redesign of the Amazonian costumes in the temple and the flashback. Mm-hmm. That the Amazons are wearing basically like leather bikinis.
Some of them would be the first counter. Let's say that.
The second criticism that they pushed Wonder Woman, Lois Lane, and Martha Kent into like the feeble kind of broken woman, where like Wonder Woman's hiding from the world, Lois Lane's writing puff pieces, and Martha Kent is like so.
I don't get that at all, but we will address it.
Has lost her farm, and then finally, a comment by Ben Affleck on the press junket, which was said to be a joke, an ill-timed joke about sexual harassment.
Okay, so let's. Which one do we want to address?
Should we start with the Amazons?
Sure, let's start with the Amazons.
Sure.
I think that's minor.
I think it's very minor. I think all of the members of the Alliance had a specific archetype. The Amazons are fighting with the Greek gods.
Yep. They are Greco-Roman.
And that is something that you would have seen in like
Greco-Roman times.
Absolutely. The
leather armor.
The Greeks, not the Romans.
Yes.
The Greeks.
I guess we shouldn't say
used leather armor, and they competed in sporting events naked.
Yes, they did. Welcome
Buck
back
naked.
To Shades and Sketch. Sensual sounds.
They competed in sport and battle because clothing got in the way, and death in battle was honorable.
Way back in episode 1 of Geeking Out, we talked about Wonder Woman. We talked about the wardrobe of all the Amazons. And we gave lots of props.
Yep.
For no fan service.
Right.
Could have gone that way. Didn't go that way. Great job. This movie, there was more skin shown.
There was more objectification.
Yeah.
But I will disagree that it was done in a misogynistic way.
Yeah, I didn't.
To the point where these women, these Amazons, were bodybuilders.
Yeah.
They were physically tearing down a mountain to close a gate. It wasn't like they shut the gate. They had to destroy the walls of the temple.
This is not a gate that then opens.
Yeah, it never opens again. Like they're sealing themselves inside.
And you are seeing,
just raw power. If anything's being like put on display, it is like
it's their strength.
Like
it's how strong and powerful they are.
Few things make me feel more emasculated.
Oh, seriously.
When I see a woman that can snap me in half.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Absolutely. That scene, the whole Amazon mother box scene, which is where this
weird scene.
Comes. It is a weird scene.
I just don't get the objectification.
For fan service to be fan service and for objectification to take place, I really feel like that has to be the focus.
Yeah.
The slow-mo come out reveal from the ankles up.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really over the top. That didn't happen in this.
Nope.
They're just characters. The only thing I got out of that scene was basically terror.
Yeah.
Okay, they find out real quick they cannot hold back Steppenwolf, and all it comes down to is get this thing away from him. Sacrifice as many as we can.
The way I read that scene is they've been taken off guard. They're not wearing their armor.
Yeah.
Like maybe this is what they wear under their armor. Like they're ill prepared for battle.
Yeah.
It came that quickly. And they didn't have time to armor up. I'll also say, like, maybe maybe just a costuming aesthetic.
Yeah, from a practical
standpoint, these are primarily extras, these Amazons. Wonder Woman was a different production. They had different extras. They had different characters. The armor and costuming that would have been crafted for those actors and extras are not going to fit the actors and actresses that are in this movie.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe it was a quick costuming decision to outfit a large number of extras.
Well, and from a practical standpoint as well, I mean, this scene of the movie was very small in comparison to how much we had to go onto.
And the few recurring Amazons who had larger parts from Wonder Woman did have armor.
Did still have their full armor. It's not like this was Bikini Bay Beach, all right? Everyone was not like that.
No.
And our main, like you say, our main Amazons that we focus the most time on are still in their battle garb.
Absolutely. So second point, that women are kind of treated with a lack of parity, that they're all broken characters somehow and objectified.
Is this where we're going to talk about the over-sexualization of Wonder Woman in this little mean section too?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. I disagree.
I don't see it. I just don't see it.
And I don't think this is my male gaze, quote unquote. Here.
I don't either.
She was wearing the same exact thing as she wore in her movie, and we all praised her for that. She shows far less skin than many of the other characters in this movie, the male characters.
And we get a shirtless Aquaman standing waist deep in water.
I am totally comfortable in my
waist deep.
I'm totally comfortable in my heterosexuality.
Right.
When I saw that, my vagina trembled. Okay. I mean, that was
I can dig it.
That was he could dig me all day long if he wanted to. That was
Jason Momoa is incredibly ripped,
incredibly in shape, handsome man.
His muscles have muscles.
I am comfortable with my heterosexuality to say that. I mean, he looks great.
He looks like you would imagine like a Greek god.
If that was Wonder Woman,
right,
in that same exact pose,
standing waist deep in water,
and she doesn't even have to be shirtless the way he is. She could just be scantily clad. Okay, you'd have a case because that is fan service.
Right. If we're saying that a slow motion shot of Wonder Woman is objectification of her, then I don't know what's I just don't understand the world anymore.
Because
it was used as a storytelling device that she has the speed of Hermes. The slow motion was to show that she was moving
quicker than a human. And once again,
so that you could see it, and it didn't just look like a CGI blur.
This was all done in her movie,
right?
Too.
Yep.
Also, not just Aquaman. I mean, I would say Aquaman was definitely the biggest fan servicey sexualized character, but also
Henry Cavill spends.
Is it Henry Cavill or Henry Cadaver?
Well done. Spends 13 minutes.
You timed it.
Of straight up fighting.
Wow. Shirtless.
And
glistening with, I guess, embalming fluid or something. I don't know. But he's fresh out of the grave.
Kryptonian sweat. Does he smell good?
He's fresh out of the grave. And so, naturally...
He explodes out of the Kryptonian ship, destroying his shirt and jacket.
But leaving his pants fine.
Yes,
okay,
pants intact.
And...
modesty.
I did not have a problem with any of this during the movie. Okay, sure. These are superheroes. Let's show off their physique. This has always been a thing about superheroes. They have godly bodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all Greek god and goddesses.
Then when we got back and out of the movie and you were telling me this thing about how people are complaining that Wonder Woman is overly sexualized, I was like, what the fuck? What the literal fuck? She is third on the list of sexualized characters in this League of Six.
Sure.
One of them is a robot. One of them is like a socially awkward child. And one of them is an old orphaned grumpy bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, a mean guy.
Right.
When she's in her street clothes.
Right.
She's
great. Wearing expensive women's fashion.
Sure.
And if we're going to say that that's objectifying, well, then we need to take a look at the world of women's fashion.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, she looked like a well put together, like, Parisian woman.
Yeah. One of the other things that comes up is that there were a number of like butt shots of her.
There were a couple butt shots.
I'm going to say sure. I didn't notice it. So,
I noticed one specifically when she jumped out of the
They all
crawler,
jump out.
But they all jumped out. We got a butt shot of everybody.
We got like Cyborg's metal
butt plates.
You got Flash's metal butt.
And you got...
not metal, sorry.
We got some bat butt.
We got some bat butt.
We also got bat bulge later in the movie. We got some Ben Affleck bat bulge.
I was going to say like Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck's like bulges.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Guys... Like some padding going on there.
Why are we making then the argument that Wonder Woman's being the one that's overly sexualized? I don't know. Are we fucking pigs? Is that the issue?
I guess.
Are the you and I fucking pigs?
I guess we are.
I guess.
For not noticing.
I guess.
For disagreeing.
I guess.
Man,
we got to really reevaluate ourselves.
The brokenness of Martha and Lois, I feel like we already talked about and are arguing that it makes them stronger characters.
Martha lost her son.
Lois Lane
lost her fiance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tragically, violently.
Superman's father's already dead.
Yeah.
He would have been just as broken as Martha.
I would agree.
If the roles were reversed.
Not only did Lois lose the love of her life, she gave him she put the weapon that killed him in his hands.
Yeah. Man.
Down
again, I'm getting this emotional roller coaster. I'm riding all over it.
Final, the Affleck comment.
Yeah, no, I know very little about this, so you're gonna have to.
So during the press junket of Justice League, they're doing this comment. They're doing this, Q&A. They sit in a hotel room for hours. A different member of the press comes in and asks them the same questions over and over and over. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to project on it. I would imagine it was probably late in the day. They all looked pretty tired at this point,
frazzled.
But I mean, I don't know. So. I will just say that they didn't seem to want to be there at that point. Mm-hmm. The question is asked: Do you believe that they will expand the roster, and who would you like to see? Ben Affleck says Black Canary. Mm-hmm. Henry Cavill says Supergirl. Mm-hmm. And the follow-up question is: what purpose would they serve on the team? Like, what would they bring to the team?
So that right there is them spreading the trap open.
Yeah. Ben Affleck's response is quote. Are you kidding? Are you not paying attention to what's happening in media right now? Mm-hmm. Or like, are you not in the know of what's happening right now? Internet goes crazy.
Yeah, I don't
get it. How could you possibly make a sexual harassment joke, Ben Affleck, given that we have video footage of you being inappropriate in like 2002 during your Daredevil tour, and you like grazed a woman's breast on TV and then made a joke about it?
Why wouldn't you want female characters? Why wouldn't you not want strong female?
Why, like, we're
heroes?
We can't celebrate Wonder Woman enough, and if we can do that with more characters in the Justice League, why? Like, I just think they're reading too much into the statement. I think
they hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, I just don't see it as
You're not going to get press by saying, yeah, we do need more female heroes. Good point.
Yeah.
You get a whole lot more press if you say, look at what this fucking pig said.
Right.
About it. Wait a minute. You're jumping to some pretty crazy
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Here. I think it's interesting that Henry wanted Supergirl because that matches his character, and Ben wanted Black Canary because that matches his character. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I agree. I think we do need to see more of these. Black Canary, Supergirl.
Black Canary leads the Justice League in the comics right now.
Who's the...
or in New 52,
Who is the female Green Lantern right now?
Right now, I'm not sure what her name is. In the past, her name was Jade. She was the daughter of Alan Scott.
The point is, we need these female heroes to come in so that Wonder Woman, who is a wonderful female... Wonderful. I didn't even mean to say that. A wonderful female hero. We don't want her to just become like the archetype of all female heroes. Let's show the gamut of how women can kick ass and can hold their own in this.
And in many cases can like...
Because Black Canary is totally different than Wonder Woman.
Black Canary trained by Lady Shiva. No, I'm sorry. Trained by Wildcat and Lady Shiva. And has the canary cry. She's like a meta and badass martial artist.
Supergirl would bring with her issues of youth.
Yes.
You know, that the other teammates wouldn't be bringing. You don't even have to really talk about her gender that much. Just the issues of youth and living in the shadow of her older cousin.
Yes.
I mean, let's bring him in. And I'm not saying it for I can't wait to look at whoever they cast for Supergirl. I'm saying it like, yeah, let's fill the roster. And if they announce the new Justice League movie and there's 2 new people and they're both male characters, aren't we going to then hear a lot of grief about that?
Right.
Too? How do we?
I don't know. There was no right answer to that question.
There's no right answer to that question. That's why I say that the trap was being sprung.
It's a stupid question.
The question itself is in itself inherently derogatory.
Right.
Like, oh, what would they bring? What would they bring to it?
Right.
Well, why do you even have to ask that?
Like, are you not?
They're heroes.
Right.
They bring their hero abilities to the team.
Right.
And I hear you cast Batman in the Justice League movie. That's interesting. Why would you do that? Because he's fucking Batman. Like, the question itself
isn't
I don't know, insulting, and I think it's just, it's a ploy.
The final criticism that's kind of going around the internet right now is on Joss Whedon, that he's not doing enough to sell the movie. And it is struggling on the PR front because he's not doing the PR junket, and he's not doing enough to promote his movie.
God damn it. I mean,
my first counter to that would be that this is not his movie.
No, this came in real late.
Snyder's movie. He came in at the 11th hour. He did some edits. He did a few reshoots.
And we talked about this a little bit in our Shades and Sketch Speculation Spectacular.
The credit he got was a scripting credit for post-production.
Zack Snyder had to walk away from this for completely legitimate reasons.
Right. Zack Snyder is not out of the DC universe. They are not handing it over to Joss Whedon, first of all.
He had to walk away from this, not because of anything to do with the movie, but because of home, family, life, and tragedy, as things happen in the real world.
Right.
That is absolutely your priority. You take care of that. Whedon comes in, finishes it. He cannot take credit for it. If he were taking credit, this is my point. If he were taking credit for it, we'd be crying over that.
Like, how dare you try and take credit for this movie that you didn't direct or write?
How could you take credit for someone who is currently going through this, you monster? Like, there's no winning.
You know what? Like, here's a sports analogy for you.
Oh God, we have way too many sports analogies in this episode.
Zack Snyder legged it out to third. And
football.
No, this is baseball.
Okay.
And now they're bringing in a pinch runner for him to run home.
Okay. Yeah. From what I get of hockey, that makes a little bit of sense.
Exactly.
To me. Yeah.
Yep. And he's just going to run it to the end zone.
And he's going to pick up the spare.
Yep.
Got it. Sports ball.
For the birdie.
Perfect. Got it. So yeah, guys, long-time listeners, I'm not mad at you. Guys,
we're not
mad at you.
Yeah, long-time listeners, thanks for listening.
It's not your fault. It's just...
Don't get sucked into this stuff. Yeah. Just appreciate it for what it is.
And don't take things as face value when you read these opinions and things on the internet.
You know what? Like,
dig a little deeper.
Let's just put our cell phones down. Let's have some geek conversations with each other and enjoy these movies and comics and television shows.
The unfortunate thing is that the world... The internet
sucks.
Well, it does. That's why we see these movies.
We just need a river of hope.
That's why we live in
uniting us.
River of hope. God damn. The reason we see these movies is to kind of avoid this stuff. So stop tainting it, internet.
I can dig it
with your stuff. And longtime listeners, use your brain. Listen to your heart. Be hopeful. Hope is like your car keys. If you lose it. And you look for it, they're probably pretty close by.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Yep.
Thanks, Papa Clark.
Thanks, Papa Clark.
So that's our. We didn't really do big questions, but
I don't have any big questions for this movie.
I'm
How
happier,
long until we get the next Justice League movie sketch?
I'm happier that we did our critique countering.
Yeah.
That replaced our big questions.
It did. I don't have any big questions.
I mean, I have like nitty-pitty things like how the fuck did that car survive the Flash pushing it at like 15,000 miles an hour?
Who cares?
Or how are they going to explain Clark Kent back from the dead?
Who cares?
I'm here to get my job back. Oh my God, Clark!
Fucking comic book movie.
And they just shoot him in the head because they think he's a zombie. They check his grave.
God,
and
he's Superman.
It's still unearthed.
I just don't care. I don't care. It was fun.
So I guess my biggest question is, why, Internet, why do you have to?
Yeah.
Why do you feel bigger? Do you feel big about yourself, Internet, tearing us down just to make you feel big?
Fucking Internet.
You know what? Internet is a bully. And
Internet is a bully.
I don't stand for bullies. This episode will be accessible on the internet. Please leave your reviews on the internet. Anyway.
Now it's time for Shades and Sketch recommendations.
Shades, why don't you start with your recommendation?
Sure.
For this week. Sometimes our recommendations match what I've been talking about. Sometimes they don't. Shades, does yours match?
It does. Okay. I am going to recommend an Elseworld Justice League comic called Kingdom Come.
Which you referenced earlier.
I did, episode. Yes. It is the story of an aged Batman who has left the world, a defeated Superman who has lost his hope, and a Wonder Woman on her own, trying to hold everything together and coax Superman back into the world in a world where heroes have been outlawed.
No matter what
a dystopian vision of the future.
No matter what the Wonder Woman, she always has conviction.
She does. She never gives up.
I did read that comic, but it's been a long time ago.
It's a good one.
I should pick it up again.
It is so good, and it's so beautifully done. It is not illustrated; it's painted.
Is this the comic that they really, I don't want to say spoofed, but they homaged the cover of this
yes,
for the movie poster.
Yes,
of this kind of the bottom
stylization,
stylized portraits. Yeah,
that is exactly what they've referenced with Alex Ross's paintings for Kingdom Come.
Very good,
and it's just what a great comic and a great story. And just one of my favorite moments from this comic is when Batman comes back to the world.
Don't give too much away for our listeners.
It's just so beautiful. I'm just going to give you this, it's going to make you want to read it. Like an avenging angel from on high.
Oh my.
So good.
Kingdom Come.
All
right, perfect. That's Shades' recommendation of the week.
Sketch, what are you going to recommend?
My recommendation comes from something far away from Justice League, but that's okay because this is super important to me, super big to me. I recently saw the movie Loving Vincent. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
Oh my God, this movie's so good. Doesn't really fit in our geek culture, but I am so geeking out over it that I have to recommend it. Loving Vincent is a movie that came out recently. I saw it at an independent theater, so it's a small release.
Sure.
Small release movie. About the life and mainly death of beloved artist Vincent van Gogh.
Yeah.
It's a great movie just for that standpoint, but the real showstopper about this movie is that the entire movie is hand-painted.
Oh, I've heard of this.
So it is, it looks animated because it technically is in the animation style, but instead of being drawn, it is oil painted in the style of Vincent van Gogh. So it is just visually beautiful to partake in, but also the story is compelling. They turn paintings of his into characters for the story. So, you're very reminiscent of Vincent's work, and it's a love letter to the artist.
Sure.
In a beautiful, poetic, and just really honest way. And Great. So if you have access to a small theater that is showing Loving Vincent, highly recommend it. If not, wait for it to stream or DVD release or whatever. I really recommend seeing Loving Vincent. Even if you aren't part of the art world, I've recommended it to friends of mine who aren't in the art world and they just loved it for the movie sake.
Great. Can't wait to check it out.
There you go. Loving Vincent.
So, longtime listeners, thanks for tuning in. Please, if you are inclined and have not done so, we would love for you to leave a rating and review.
And if you have done so, thank you.
Thank you so much, those of you who have. It really does make the difference in building the profile of our show.
And it makes us feel good, too.
Yeah, and you can always email us. If you've disagreed with anything that we've said here and want to continue the conversation, please email us at gowithshadesandsketch@gmail.com.
Yeah, this is a conversation. We're not the end-all, be-all.
You can tweet us at Shades and Sketch or find us on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Geeking Out.
So should we pack up the GoCo?
Yeah, I think we should... hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Before we leave this dilapidated Russian town,
yes.
I'm going to go grab that helmet.
Oh, yeah. That'll look great over the mantle of GoCo. Absolutely. And then after you grab that helmet, I think we should go see Justice League again.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
See you next time, guys.
See you next time.